Have you ever just liked the movie because you know other people hate it so much? Well, that's a little bit of my relationship with Mission Impossible 2. It's really my favorite of the entire franchise. I absolutely love this movie. It's 2 and 3. They almost just go in order with how much I enjoy all of this. But Mission Impossible 2 is truly unique. And now, since we have so many movies to look back on when it comes to Mission Impossible 2 stylistically is different. It's clearly different. It's 1,000% different. And that's because, here we go, John Woo and our writer, Robert Towne. And if you're not familiar with Robert Towne, you might be a little bit more familiar with John Woo. Robert Towne understands men with their backs up against the wall are on a mission. He's also one of the guys behind the original Mission Impossible movie with Tom Cruise. But this one is truly Ethan Hunt on his own against the world, fighting for a woman he loves. This has become a theme that runs all the way into the final Mission Impossible, which is dropping soon. This movie has ideas that they still use to this day. It's a great movie. I love it. You may hate it, but let's go.
On the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take 1.
Action!
So here's the wild thing, AKAPADers. The soundtrack for I-2, and that's what the true Mission Impossiblers call this movie. We call it I-2. We don't make fun of this movie, and I feel like I keep having to say that because it still comes up. Like you'll get two, excuse me, you'll get two film snobs going back and forth on some podcast, and they'll talk about the slow motion fighting scenes in this movie. They'll talk about doves in this movie, and they'll talk about a motorcycle fight in this movie. They won't talk about as a character. Tom Cruise truly has to do the impossible. That Tom Cruise, maybe for the first time, that we see Ethan Hunt as a character face against a one-to-one nemesis, a true opposite. He, in this movie, is fighting for a girl that he will never let down. Now, guys, if you watch the most recent Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, that's a huge theme in that movie. We see Ethan Hunt in the beginning of this movie mountain climbing. He's free soloing, free balling. He's on the cliff by himself, and supposedly it was all Tom Cruise. I believe he says that in the movie commentary when I listened to that 100 years ago. And then we have a moment in Dead Reckoning where, yes, he's hanging and he's trying to save a girl. And we know he can do it. Like, we know he can be in this situation because they set it up so well in Mission Impossible 2. The soundtrack for this movie at one time was on non-stop play. There's a Limp Bizkit track that I absolutely love. There's a Metallica track that I absolutely what's that? What's the Metallica track? Hold on. That's I Disappear. Rob Zombie, Butthole Surfers. This soundtrack it's in my top 10. If you guys don't know, some of my top 10 is, well, I guess recently I put Mallrats in there. Mallrats, The Crow, a lot of movies from this era. Mission Impossible 2, Batman Forever. The soundtracks of this time were so well, the music, again, like a lot, we all kind of listened to the same music during this time, so it was easy to put popular bands and get them to do some original tracks or use some of their popular tracks in this movie. It just encapsulated the movie. So a lot of times you would leave the theater and go to your local mall. Like we had the Tower Records nearby. You would go to Tower Records, get that movie soundtrack, and listen to it on the way home to extend the film going movie experience. It's truly something that we don't have at all anymore, and a little bit depressing. So just go over it. This movie came out in the year 2000. It's relatively a year after The Matrix. For some reason, people compare the fight scenes in this movie to The Matrix. That's just silly to me. Budget for this movie, 125 milli, 550 milli box office. So you want to say Tom Cruise, who developed a format after this movie, he was getting new directors. And he got new directors per movie. So the previous movie, Brian De Palma. Then the next movie is going to be, our J.J. Abrams. I almost called him Jar Jar Abrams because they make fun of him online with that. Which that is funny. J.J. Abrams, and then Brad Bird. But then he settles on Ralph McQuarrie, our Oscar-winning writer of Usual Suspects. But he's now director, and this has been a Ralph McQuarrie, Tom Cruise collaborative franchise since then, truly transforming Mission Impossible into something no one either can define, explain, or saw coming. But during this time, Brian De Palma puts a signature on the original. John Woo puts a signature on this one. J.J. Abrams puts his signature. Brad Bird, I guess we can say put his signature, even though it would be nice if we had a couple other things to measure Brad Bird's live action filmmaking against. Right, he kind of just goes. He does a Tomorrowland movie with George Clooney, tanks that, and then like scurries back to animation. Kind of sad because you thought he had a bright future. So with all of that, John Woo was the talk of the town, and John Woo is coming off of Face Off. Now, here's the movies of John Woo when he was a foreign filmmaker that we only read about because it was hard to get his VHSs. 1984, Run, Tiger, Run. 1986, A Better Tomorrow. 1987, A Better Tomorrow 2. 1989, The Killer. 1990, Bullet in the Head. 1991, Once a Thief. Now, in 92, Hard Boiled 92. And then in 93, he comes to the U.S. shores and makes one of the best Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. And people knew this at the time. You would have to go buy this movie and watch it or rent it. Hard Target. So he makes two hard movies back to back. Hard Boiled, Hard Target. 3 years later, with John Travolta and Christian Slater and Howie. Who's Harry Long? Harry Long from the NFL. They're in a movie called Hard Target, Broken Arrow, and Broken Arrow doesn't quite hit. It just doesn't. But then he comes back the next year with one of the all-time action movie bangers, collaborating once again with John Travolta, but he brings on Nicolas Cage, and you know this movie, Face Off. 3 years later, Mission Impossible. 2 years after that, he brings Nicolas Cage back from Face Off, and they make The Wind Talkers. Oscar level WW2 drama. Just no one paid attention to it at the time because Nicolas Cage wasn't, a little bit downturn of his career before he did have his epic comeback. And it was a WW2 movie directed by John Woo. And then he follows that up with Paycheck, which is, good movie, but, not what we want from John Woo. And then it's Red Cliff 1, Red Cliff 2. John Woo pretty much kind of reverts back into becoming a foreign filmmaker. He's made multiple Part 1, Part 2 movies. Better Tomorrow, Red Cliff, and The Crossing Part 1, Part 2 in 2014, 2015. He did hone in on becoming like an epic filmmaker. Just epic in relationships and story. Really nice stuff. But John Woo's run here of 97 to 2000, doing Face Off and Mission Impossible back to back, defines this movie. This movie has a speed, it has a tone, it has great music by Hans Zimmer, and the plot is, it's Balissa 4, right? And Chimera, it's a deadly virus, and Tom Cruise has to stop the deadly virus from breaking out into the world. And There you go. That's it. But no. And then we have a little bit of a love triangle, and we get this style of these men having to confront one another. This girl clearly is not going to go for the guy, but she's thrown into the mix. And this is a theme that we see repeatedly in Mission Impossible, where Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt, he develops feelings for a girl, but then has to force her to do what's right for the mission, regardless of her life. And then Tom Cruise is put in, Ethan Hunt's always put in a position of saving the day, stopping whatever it is that's going to end the world, and saving the girl, and saving face too, because Ethan Hunt is also torn. Like, it's such an interesting dynamic. But the style, the speed, the ferocity, and the sign of the time that this movie represents, AKAPADers, I am all in. I always love Mission Impossible 2. Ever since I first saw it, I first saw it in the theater, it was always like, wow, that is one of my movies. It has multiple John Woo signatures, which again, that's what you want in any type of action. And you can argue that this is the last of the John Woo action. It's really Face Off. Mission Impossible 2 is what he did here. And then we do have Hard Boiled, we have Better Tomorrow, we have The Killer. Those are your 5 John Woo action, let's go gung fu movies, as some people like to say. Really enjoyable time to go check out movies too. And there was nothing but hype, nothing but excitement for MI2. I just talking to you guys about it, it makes me want to go listen to the soundtrack. I think I'm going to do that right now. AKAPADers, love you, rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.